He ruled that boardroom for 7 years, built the company from nothing, made them all rich. But in one moment, one crack in his voice when they questioned his vision, he signed his own death warrant. The silence that followed wasn't respect. It was the sound of vultures circling. They smelled blood. Within 48 hours, his own protégés were in the CEO's office, presenting their case for his removal. By Friday, security was escorting him out with a cardboard box, destroyed by 30 seconds of vulnerability. This isn't a story about business. It's a documentary about human nature. The moment they see you bleed, they don't offer bandages. They sharpen their knives. Machiavelli didn't write about politics. He wrote about predators in suits and why showing weakness is the fastest way to become prey. Today, you learn why mercy is a luxury only the weak believe they can afford. Asterisk, he ruled that boardroom for 7 years, built the company from nothing, made them all rich. But in one moment, one crack in his voice when they questioned his vision, signed his own death warrant. The silence that followed wasn't respect. It was the sound of vultures circling. They smelled blood. Within 48 hours, his own protégés were in the CEO's office, presenting their case for his removal. By Friday, security was escorting him out with a cardboard box. 7 years of loyalty, destroyed by 30 seconds of vulnerability. This isn't a story about business. It's a documentary about human nature. The moment they see you bleed, they don't offer bandages. They sharpen their knives. Machiavelli didn't write about politics. He wrote about predators in suits and why showing weakness is the fastest way to become prey. Today, you learn why mercy is a luxury only the weak believe they can afford. The predator's instinct, Machiavelli, understood something that destroys most people. Humans are hardwired to exploit weakness. It's not evil, it's evolutionary. For thousands of years, survival meant recognizing who was vulnerable and who was dangerous. That instinct didn't disappear when we put on suits and built boardrooms. It just learned to wear a smile. When you show weakness, you trigger something primal in others. They don't consciously think, let me destroy this person. They simply feel a shift in the power dynamic. Suddenly, you're not the threat anymore. You're the opportunity. The executive who cracked in that meeting didn't just lose respect, he lost his position in the hierarchy. The moment his voice wavered, his subordinates stopped seeing him as their superior. They saw him as competition that had just revealed its weakness. And in the world of power, wounded competition gets eliminated. The vulnerability trap. Most people believe vulnerability is strength. They've been told that authenticity and emotional openness create deeper connections. This is true if you're looking for friends, but if you're looking for power, respect, or the ability to control your own destiny, vulnerability is poison. Here's what they don't tell you about showing weakness. People remember it forever. Years later, when they're deciding whether to trust you with something important, that moment of weakness will surface in their subconscious. They'll question your judgment, your stability, your capability. The crack in your armor becomes a permanent scar on their perception of you. Machiavelli never showed weakness because he understood that perception creates reality. If people perceive you as weak, you become weak in every interaction that follows. Your opinions carry less weight. Your demands are ignored. Your boundaries are tested and crossed. The man who built that company understood business, innovation, and leadership. But he never understood the most important lesson in the eyes of others. You are only as strong as your weakest moment. The Anatomy of Destruction. Watch how weakness destroys power. Step by step. Stage 1. The crack. You show emotion, vulnerability, or uncertainty in front of the wrong people. It feels natural, human, even relieving. You think you're being authentic. Stage 2. The assessment. Others unconsciously recalibrate their perception of you. They don't attack immediately. They observe. They test small boundaries to see if the weakness is permanent or temporary. Stage 3. The whispers. If the weakness appears permanent, they begin subtle campaigns. Not outright sabotage, that's too risky. Instead, they plant seeds of doubt. He seems stressed lately. I'm worried about her judgment. Maybe we need fresh perspective. Stage 4. The strike. When the moment is right, they move. Not with emotion, or obvious aggression, but with calculated precision. They present themselves as the solution to a problem you've become. Stage 5. The exile, you're removed from power not by enemies, but by people who once supported you. They convince themselves they're doing what's best for everyone. They're not destroying you, they're promoting stability. This pattern plays out in every arena: corporate boardrooms, political offices, family dynamics, social circles. The only variable is the speed of execution. Machiavelli's Niccolo Machiavelli lived through chaos that would break most men. He watched kingdoms fall, leaders executed, alliances shattered overnight, but he survived because he learned to weaponize composure. When Florence was under siege and panic gripped the city, Machiavelli remained calm in public meetings. When his political enemies gained power and threatened his life, he showed no fear in their presence.
Yeah.
When he was tortured for information, witnesses reported that he revealed nothing and maintained his dignity throughout. This wasn't natural temperament. This was strategic performance. Machiavelli understood that the moment leaders show weakness, they give permission for others to question their authority. And once authority is questioned, it begins to crumble. He wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Your internal struggles, fears, and pain are irrelevant to your external power. What matters is the version of yourself that others witness. That version must be unbreakable." The modern battlefield, today's leaders face the same challenge with higher stakes. Social media broadcasts every moment of weakness. Video calls capture micro-expressions of doubt. Competitive environments reward those who can spot and exploit vulnerability in others. Consider the startup founder who tears up during a board meeting when discussing layoffs. She thinks she's showing empathy and humanity. The board sees a leader who can't handle pressure. 6 months later, they're interviewing her replacement, citing emotional volatility as a concern, or the manager who admits to his team that he's struggling with imposter syndrome. He believes transparency will build trust. Instead, his team starts second-guessing his decisions and going around him to higher management. They don't consciously plan his downfall. They just lose confidence in his ability to lead them through challenges. The cruel irony is that these moments of authenticity often reveal the deepest truths about someone's character and capability. But in a world where perception determines reality, truth is less important than image. The rules of invincibility. If you want to survive in environments where weakness is exploited, you must master these principles. Rule 1. Compartmentalize your pain. Feel everything privately. Process your emotions away from the people who depend on your strength. Machiavelli had advisors he trusted completely, but even they rarely saw him vulnerable. Your inner circle should be smaller than you think. Rule 2. Perfect your performance. Every public appearance is a performance. Your voice, posture, facial expressions, and energy levels are being monitored and judged. Practice maintaining composure under pressure until it becomes automatic. Rule 3. Control the narrative when problems arise. Frame them as challenges you're addressing, not crises overwhelming you. Instead of "I don't know what to do," say, "I'm evaluating our options." Instead of "This is killing me," say "This requires careful consideration." Rule 4. Never explain weakness if someone notices you seem off. Don't provide details. A simple "I'm focused on solving this" is more powerful than a detailed explanation of your struggles. Explanations invite more questions and closer scrutiny. Rule 5. Use strategic vulnerability if you must. Show weakness. Do it deliberately and with purpose. Vulnerabilities. This satisfies people's need to see you as human without compromising your authority. The price of strength living this way isn't easy. It's isolating to hide your struggles. It's exhausting to maintain perfect composure. It's painful to realize that showing your humanity often costs you your power. But Machiavelli understood that leadership is sacrifice. You sacrifice the comfort of vulnerability for the responsibility of strength. You give up the luxury of emotional transparency for the necessity of unwavering authority. The executive who was destroyed by 30 seconds of weakness learned this too late. He spent years building trust, loyalty, and respect. But in a world where strength is constantly tested, weakness is never forgotten. Machiavelli survived political turmoil, personal betrayal, and professional destruction because he never gave others the weapon of his vulnerability. He understood that in the game of power, the moment you show you can be broken, someone will break you. Your strength is not measured by your ability to hide emotion. It's measured by your ability to control when, where, and to whom you reveal it. Master this control, and you become untouchable. Lose it, and you become prey. The choice is always yours. But remember, the world is watching, and weakness is never forgotten.